Great Sunday evening and has had a great day. Hi, Mel. Hi, Felicia. Great show. Thanks, Rachel. I'm excited to be here. Um, Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm very nervous. I am excited to talk a little bit about Carnival Glass, but I've got to tell you guys, I am absolutely a novice in this, and I want to share with you the little bit of knowledge that I have learned. Really, I would say in the past 6 months, I have really learned a lot about this particular type of glass. Carnival. Oh, let me start by saying I'm Dee. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dee. Um, and I'm very passionate about glass, love glass, and yeah, just thanks for being here. So let's dive into the world of Carnival glass. Carnival glass is very old, and we're going to only be talking about American Carnival glass tonight. You're researching your topic right now. Yeah, yes, we will learn together. So American Carnival glass actually got its roots right here in the good old US of A back in the early 1900s. Don't quote me on the date. I'm telling you, when it came to history, that's what killed me, was memorizing dates. Like my brain does not love that. I want to say it was 1906 or 7 when the first piece of Carnival glass was sold or introduced to the world. And it was introduced by, anybody have any guesses who brought Carnival glass first? Fenton. Introduced by Fenton. There is some information out there that kind of says maybe Fenton wasn't the first to produce it, but we're going to go with what the bulk of the information points to, and that's that Fenton introduced it in the early 1900s. It is a pressed glass with an iridescent finish on it, and in an array of beautiful colors. And when they came out with this glass, they mostly they marketed it as a decorative glass. However, they did mostly pieces that were usable. So a lot of plates, a lot of bowls, a lot of vases, punch sets, things that the person could use in their home. And so it was used. It was very, very popular, cheap to produce, and thrived in the community up until about the 1930s. Because Carnival glass lends such a nod to the Art Nouveau movement. The 1930s, Art Deco sort of started becoming popular, and Carnival glass sort of faded out. Because they were producing this glass in mass quantities, and let me back up a minute and say it was heavily produced in the United States by many glass makers. There are 5 main glass makers. There was Fenton, there was Imperial, there was Dugan, Millersburg, and who am I? Oh, Northwood. So they were the 5 main producers of Carnival glass, but they were shipping it overseas, and soon it started being produced overseas. That's a topic for a whole nother day that I really don't know that much about. And you guys will have to excuse my voice. I'm getting over being sick, and I can hear it coming out in my voice as I'm talking. Anyhow, in the 1930s, it sort of died out. It was not called Carnival glass when it was made. It was referred to as a lot of different things, like Aurora glass, rainbow glass, and then some really weird terms as well, like dope glass. I'm not sure. I didn't do much research into that, but that's what they called it. Really popular because back in the early 1900s, people operated by candlelight. They didn't have electricity, and the Carnival glass would, not only was it beautiful and usable, functional, it would catch the flame of the flicker of the candlelight and the fire, and it would light up their home, and people were just thrilled with it. So the 1930s come and it sort of dies out. Hello. Welcome in everyone who's just joining. Yeah, that is a weird one. Okay, so the 1930s come, it sort of dies out, and these glass makers, a lot of them struggled with that because they were making so much money and overproducing this glass, and some of them actually went out of business. Um, Around the 1950s is when it got its name Carnival glass, and part of the reason for that is because it was so cheap at this point and they couldn't get rid of it. And so Carnival started actually handing it out as carnival prizes. So you go to the carnival, you would win a game, and ooh, you get a Carnival glass vase. Um, in the 1960s, it started being reproduced again using the same molds that they were using before. By Imperial was the one to start reproducing it in the 1960s. Fenton joined in around the 1970s, and Fenton would go on to produce at least small batches of Carnival glass up until 2011. So some of it is very modern, some of it is very old and very antique. There are about 2,000 or more known molds that they use to make this glass, known patterns. So it's a lot to digest. And we are only just barely going to scratch the surface tonight. Um, I wanted to tell you guys kind of my journey with Carnival glass. When I first started reselling, I mean, I think Carnival is beautiful. I always have. Um, and funny story, actually, my grandma and her brother and other brother, they were in the carnival. They were carnies. So I have a family history sort of with this glass. So no wonder I love it so much. But I would never pick it up as a reseller. I would walk by it all the time because I just thought, well, this is a mass produced glass. Like everybody has some of this. There's no real value in carnival glass. What a misconception. Boy, was I wrong. Um, so I watched a lot of YouTube resellers and YouTube videos, and I started noticing that they were picking up Carnival glass and specific patterns they were really drawn to. And I would sort of make a mental note, didn't really do a lot of digging into it, but I thought, huh. So one day I was on HiBid. HiBid is an auction house. Rachel covered this in great detail in her show last night. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out because she gives amazing tips on sourcing for things to resell. But I was over there on HiBid messing around, looking for something to, float my boat and pick up and resell. And I happened upon some Carnival glass that was like a big lot of Carnival glass. And um, I looked around and I saw that there were some patterns that I had made a mental note of. And I thought, well, maybe I'll go ahead and place a bid on those. They were cheap. It was like $15 a piece. And I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and take a chance on this Carnival glass. I ended up purchasing 3 ice cream bowls. I can't even remember every pattern that I got. I know that one of them was the Dragon and Lotus pattern, which is quite collectible. And when it came in the mail, I was taken aback, not only at how beautiful it was, but at how perfect it was for its age. And I actually was like, I need to do some research on this because what if it's fake? Like, I don't know that much about HiBid, and what if I got myself into a sitch? Um, so I started looking on the internet, and sure enough, like Carnival glass is faked. You have to watch out for fakes. It's a whole thing. Luckily, I got my Carnival glass from a very reputable auction house. Thank the Lord. And that would be the beginning of a journey with this auction house that I have bought from them time and time again. Very good auction house. So anyhow, I listed my pieces. I didn't do a ton of research. I didn't know a ton about what I was doing out there on eBay listing these pieces, but I listed them all for around $100 and I made my money back in a quick hurry because all in on that lot, I was about $60 deep with the shipping and the auction fees and all of that. $60. So $100 a piece was really good. And one of them actually sold for closer to 200. So I thought, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to write off Carnival glass anymore. So when I'd be out and about sourcing at the Goodwills and the thrift stores and antique malls, and I would find Carnival glass for a good price, like, $5, I would pick it up every single time and I would sell it almost right away every single time. And I thought, well, there is a market for Carnival glass. And then later, the auction house that I bought from would start sending me catalogs in the mail. And they did like in-person auctions and online auctions. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go and I'm just going to like check this auction out. Like I'm going to be a fly on the wall and sort of see what this is all about, because auctions are new to me and I want to learn more about Carnival glass. So I started going to their auctions. I started buying some pieces here and there. And what really changed the game for me was I got this lot. It was a lot of two little rose bowls by Northwood. And they were fine point and roses. One of them was a amethyst color and one of them was like an ice blue. Still very green with Carnival glass. Didn't do a ton of research. I did the normal amount of research that I normally do. Like I always do a Google Lens and make sure that I can verify what I have. And then I always go on eBay and I check what's listed and I check the sold comps and figure out, a mid-range price of what I want to charge for these items. So I did that and I was in this lot for $15 for two rose bowls, which is a great price. I listed them for approximately $50 a piece. The amethyst one sold right away. Full asking price out the door. The blue one, my blue one was a little bit different and it had like an opaline finish on the edge. But I priced it like the ice blue that I was seeing on eBay, and I added like $5 or $10 for that opal finish around the edge and called it a day. Well, within a day of listing these items, I mean, the response was almost immediate. And it had a ton of watchers, this blue one did, and somebody reached out and sent me a message. Now, I was at work, so I couldn't be too attentive to my eBay and what was going on. But I try to be attentive, and I saw that it was a private message, so I read it really quick, and it was basically somebody saying, "Are you sure that's what you have?" Well, that particular rose bowl was not marked, as a lot of Carnival glass is not. It didn't have the maker mark on the bottom. But I was pretty sure that it was Northwood. And I said, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Northwood. It checks all the boxes. And yes, I feel confident that this is a Northwood fine point and diamond, or fine point and roses rose bowl. And the person wrote me back and said, I want you to go check out this website. I think you might be surprised. So I was like, okay. I waited until my break. I get on the website and I was like, what in the heck is this? Like, this is game changing. I thought I was doing my research. I wasn't doing my research. This is research. And I found that I probably had a rare piece of Carnival glass. Now, Carnival glass collectors will pay big, big bucks. I didn't know that before. We're talking thousands of dollars. And I have been at auctions where I've seen things sell for thousands of dollars. Like, these collectors love this glass and they will pick like a certain pattern or a certain maker or a certain piece, and they will collect everything that was ever done. So I was looking at the price on the website and I was like, well, that would mean that mine is worth about $500. No way do I have a $500 piece of glass. Like, that's just not, no, that I don't have that kind of luck. In the meantime, so I write the guy back and I say, well, do I have the aqua opal version of this? He doesn't give me a response. In the meantime, I get an offer on this piece for like $5 less than what I was asking. And I sort of hemmed and hawed and waited all day and thought about, well, I don't have that much in it. I should just take the offer. I'll be in the green. Life is good. Like, move it along, give him a fair deal. I might lose on this, but I'm winning either way. So I took the offer. And it haunted me, seriously haunted me. And I started checking out this website and digging a little bit deeper. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. Um, I have some pieces. I have about 3 pieces of Carnival glass that I have picked up that have been on my eBay that have not moved. And then I went on Friday and picked out a couple of pieces from an antique store because I wanted to have more things to show you guys. Hi, Marissa. Welcome in. And I had gone to an auction like weeks ago and actually just invested a good chunk of money on some really good pieces of Carnival. And I was like, it's too bad it's not going to be here in time for this show. Well, guess what? It showed up last night. So we're going to dive in. But the first thing I want to do is take you over to my computer and I want to show you this website. So I'm going to cover my lens to do this so that you guys don't see my messy office and don't get dizzy. And here we go. The name of the website is David Doty's Carnival Glass. It's ddoty.com. If you guys are resellers, if you guys are just starting on a collection of Carnival glass, I urge you to check this website out. This is a comprehensive field guide to Carnival. If you are avid collectors, please correct me on anything that I say that's wrong, because like I said, I am new to this and I apologize if I'm getting anything incorrect. On this website, this is so cool because you can look by pattern, you can look by shape, you can look by motif, by maker. You know, sometimes you have a piece and you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, okay, it looks like a vase. So you can go into vases and you can try to find the maker or the pattern, because there, like I said, there's like 2,200 Carnival glass patterns. Only like 1,100 of them are covered on this website, but it gives you a really good idea. So I'm going to tell you, one of the pieces I got is a piece of Northwood. So click on maker, and here are the American makers, and then you go to Northwood. I don't know if you can see that, but here's the Northwood section. Here's all the patterns. Okay. We are looking for diamond point vases. So I received a diamond point vase. Now this website will tell you a little bit about this particular pattern and this particular maker, and it gives you all kinds of really good information on how to identify your piece, how to know if you have a rare piece. There's a whole section on whimsies or rare pieces that are worth tons of money. Anyhow, so here we go. Here are the diamond point vases, and mine is, now we're going to look for color. When you're looking at color on Carnival glass, you're looking at the base color of the glass. You're not looking at the finish. Mine is electric blue. So we see here, blue electric. Can you guys see that? Blue electric. And then next to it, we can see 2,000. That is the price that one of these vases sold for in 2005. And then one sold for $650 in 2012. So when I tell you that this glass can sell for big bucks, I'm telling you guys, this, if you want to make some money, appeal to the Carnival glass collectors. I spent $100 at this auction on this vase, which I'm going to take you back and show you. And it is worth $2,000. And because there's only 2 examples of it ever being sold, I'm going to look on eBay first and make sure that there's none listed. And then I can kind of decide, what do I want to charge for it, right? So here is the vase in question. Beautiful. the diamond point pattern, the blue color, stunning vase. Yeah, it's gorgeous. So yeah, I wanted to show you that. What else did I want to cover? Let's just sort of go through some pieces. I'm going to offer some pieces tonight. Are there more preferred colors to look out for? So if you get on that website, here, let me go back over there for a minute. Let's go look at colors. You'll see that depending on the maker, depending on the pattern, there were rare colors that were made. Like, it's not all, oh, blue is really collectible, or, you know, that blue opal is really collectible. It's depending on the pattern and how many of them they produced. So, like, there's a common misconception about marigold being not very collectible. But there are certain patterns where they didn't make very much marigold and it's worth tons of money. So the cool thing when it comes to color, I feel like color is the hardest thing about researching your Carnival glass, because color is kind of subjective and we're looking at things online and it's sometimes hard to tell, well, do I have cobalt blue? Do I have sapphire blue? What color of blue do I have? I feel good about the color that I have because I got it from an auction house and they identified the piece for me, so I don't have to do that. But if you weren't sure, on this website, you click on the color chart and you can see, like, if you go into, let's go to powder blue here. Okay, let's don't. So that's not, let's go to blue, no. Let's try clam broth. Okay. They will give you sort of a comparison of color to look and see if, like, sort of compare your color against other colors and see if that's the color that you have. Certain makers only did certain colors, and there are this is the list of colors. And this is not everything in the Carnival world. Like, there are oddities and there are more colors and more patterns that is not covered on this website, but this is a really good website, you guys. So let's look at red, for example. You can see all the different variations of red. And then there are little articles like that they've clipped from over time. Let's look at, trying to think of how I got, let's look at this. I picked up a piece of fine rib for you guys because this was one, I actually had a fine rib base. And it was really difficult to, like, distinguish who made this base, because it was pretty easy to find the pattern that it was fine rib, and I'll show it to you guys here in a minute. But there were actually a couple of different makers of fine rib vases. So I think here, okay. So we can look and see, look at all these. This is basically what my vase looks like. It's a fine rib base. It's a marigold color. It's, you know, seems like it should be cut and dry. I just need to know, like, is there anything special about it? Who made it? And it looks like Fenton did a fine rib and Northwood did a fine rib. So now I can go back here and I can look by maker, or actually I could even look by pattern because now I know the pattern. And we're looking for fine rib. It's all in alphabetical order, which is super nice. And we have fine rib vases Fenton, fine rib vases Northwood. So Maybe I have a Northwood, right? Well, it tells you right here. With an identical name and similar design, this vase is frequently confused with Fenton's version. The most obvious difference is that band around the top of the Fenton. There is one base size in the Northwood, 3.5 inches, and some are marked with Northwood's N. So that's pretty telling. I looked at my vase. The band did not go all the way to the top, which is on a Northwood vase. It will always go all the way to the top. And then I measured the bottom of my base to see if it was this 3.5 inches, which is common for Northwood. And mine was only, I think, 2.75. So I went back to Fenton and looked it up here. A fine rib. Well, yep. I can see that mine looks like that. And then if you look here, standard size, 2.5 to 3 inch base or unspecified. Okay, I have now identified my vase. I have a Fenton fine rib, standard size marigold vase. And I'm going to show that to you guys so that you can see what I'm talking about. But I love that. Oh my gosh, if I can get you hooked in here. That this website gives you the prices of what it has sold for at auction. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, good. And that sort of lends into something that we have sort of talked about a couple of times on Lilyworks is like, be careful that you don't undervalue a piece, because if you undervalue a piece and it's being reported on a website like this website I'm talking about, well, that takes the value from the collector. And now you've taken maybe what was a $250 piece of glass and you sold it for $50, which is what I did with that Rose Bowl vase. And if they had reported that sale on this website, it would be awful for the value of that vase. And I would feel terrible that I did that to collectors who have been building up the value of this stuff for years. So I think that's really important to just be mindful of it. Thankfully, here on District, our stuff is not being reported, and we sort of have the liberty to sell things for what we want to sell them for. But it's something, if you are a reseller, if you're selling on eBay, or, you want to be mindful of that, because eBay does report to places like WorthPoint, and that could start being pulled from other sources and, put on record, and it might affect the value of pieces. So it's just something to think about. Anyhow, I picked this up just to show you guys this as an example. Here is the Fenton fine rib standard marigold Carnival glass vase. Very pretty. Here's the bottom of it. Marigold is always done on clear glass. That's one way that you know. If it's on any other type of glass, it is not marigold. It will always be on clear. I'm actually going to pull this up and run it for you guys. To stage. So this is running for $24. This is about the value of this vase. I actually paid full price for it just to have an example. I wanted to show you guys how to look this up and identify the difference between Northwood and Fenton, because I think that's so cool that they tell you on the website, look at the top here. You see what they're talking about, how those ribs don't go all the way to the top. And then let's talk about some other pieces that I have. I just got this one from an auction, or from the same auction. This is a piece of Dugan. I think this is just stunning. It's just a little swung vase. Now, how can it be pressed and swung at the same time? Well, it is. They would actually mold the glass into like a shorter, squattier vase. It would come out like about like this with the pattern on it. And then they would put it on a rod and reheat it and swing it to get it to whatever height they were looking for. And then they would finish it up by pulling the top of it however they wanted it to look, whether they wanted it to be crimped or ruffled. So that's pretty interesting. Other thing is that Carnival glass always has a seam. I can't even find the seam on this piece. It's so well done, I can't even find it. But this is the Dugan Nautilus 8-inch amethyst base. We know it's amethyst because we look in, you want the light to shine through it, and it will give like a purple hue. And all of this information, you guys, is on that website. So if you have any questions, I probably am not the best like teacher. I'm kind of all over the place, but I hope you'll check that website out. This one is the Northwood Diamond Point Vase in Dark Marigold. This also just came from the auction, so I'm not going to run these auction pieces because I would have to price them at collector prices. But I did want to show it to you guys. There you can see it's definitely marigold. It's on a clear glass. Here we can see the seam from the mold right there. Pretty. Oh. This next one I am going to run. And I feel like I'm offering it to you guys for a good price. So there's still, if you want to make a profit on this vase, there's a lot of profit to be made here. If you want to start a collection or you want to resell it or you want to just have it so you can do some research and then figure out what you want to do with it. This is the Northwood tree trunk vase in amethyst. And the iridescence on this piece is like a silver color. There's a lot to learn about like the finish of these pieces. There's like stippled and different colors. They do like a pastel iridescence, just all kinds of stuff to still learn. And like I said, I'm still learning. But this piece is really pretty. This is an 11.5-inch vase with amethyst glass and like a silver tone iridescence on it. And it's really, it's a really even iridescence on that piece. We're going to run it for $55. So that one is running if anybody's interested. Set it back. Thank you, Justine. Okay, and then this piece, this is a really common Carnival glass pattern. It's called the Grape and Cable. It was done by many different makers, but this one is a Fenton piece. So this is just a small or a medium-sized bowl. It's 6.5 inches. It's on green. And you can see that beautiful press pattern there. There's the base of it. I'll run this one for you guys too. This one is starting at 20. That one is running. One thing you want to like, sometimes Carnival glass will have like funny marks in it, and they call them straw marks, which they say is like where the glass was put to cool. They would lay it on straw. So you'll see like some funny marks in the glass sometimes. I'll show you a piece here in a minute that actually has a pretty good size one. Let's run this one. Now this piece I'm about to show you, I also just got the other day when I was out sourcing for this. And I had a heck of a time, even on the website, deciphering who did this piece. I mean, obviously it's got a grape pattern to it, but it's weird. It's a bowl and it's not like ruffled on the top or anything like that. And then I stumbled upon an example of that shape of bowl, and they were calling it a fernery, but I could not find anything about who did it. Well, thankfully, Justine jumped in there and she was able to find out that this is Fenton. This is antique, like probably 1910-ish that this was made. It's not in the greatest of condition. You can see there's a big scratch on the bottom there. Some of the iridescence is coming off. But it's still pretty. And a fernery is like, they used it to put plants in. So it was like a plant holder. I am going to run that piece for $40. And yeah, the website is great. Like, that is the best thing that came out of that mistake that I made of selling that little rose bowl. Excuse me. And maybe it was an expensive mistake, but I feel like it paid off tons. So I would make it again every time if I had to choose. I'm very grateful that that person reached out and was like, "Hey, check out this website. It's a game changer." So this piece is by Dugan. I love Dugan. They weren't around for very long, but they sure made beautiful pieces and a little bit different than some of the other makers. This is an amethyst ice cream bowl. And right there, you can see what I'm talking about, that little straw mark that's in the glass on the base. It's not a chip, it's just a straw mark. This is actually a very nice piece of glass. I mean, I don't see any scratching on the iridescence. Well, maybe a little bit of scratching on the iridescence, but it's very faint. This is a nice piece in the pattern Windflower. And I love that on this piece, it's sort of like a pastel. I don't know that you can see it that great. Maybe if I turn it like that, you can see it's like a pastel iridescence on there. It's like a pink and a green. Beautiful. I'm going to run that one for $45. And that's actually a rare piece. I could show you on the website where they actually feature this identical ice cream bowl. And it's like rare Dugan ice cream bowl. I'm like, I have that ice cream bowl. That's so cool. I'm sorry, you guys. I got a new phone stand and it's not that great. So I have to like stabilize it because it wants to fall over. Good times. And then I wanted to run this piece. This is an Imperial Jack in the Pulpit vase. Some would call it marigold, but I actually think it's in the clam broth color because they describe clam broth as being lighter than marigold, and this is quite a bit lighter. It's almost like a yellow. This is a cutie. But, you know, there you go. It is on clear, so it stands to reason that it could be marigold. We're going to run that one for $34. That one's running. And this is just a shorter little squatty guy. It's super cute, though. And then I will show you this one. This is a Northwood drapery. Look at the iridescence on that. Isn't that stunning? It's like green and pink and purple. Oops, and that's on a blue base. It's got little feet on it. These little feet get damaged very easily. And we have a damage right here. See, the auction house called that a chunk. That to me is a little tiny chip, But in the world of carnival glass collecting, this is a chunk, you guys. This is a huge chunk, and a scratch is a gouge. So just something you need you need to kind of know. Yeah, I love the shape of this. It's almost like a square. Super cool. And this piece. This piece is really cool. This is a Northwood as well. And let me see what this is called. This is Daisy and Plume with a berry interior in blue. And it's a 3-footed candy dish. Now, sometimes they would double stamp carnival glass pieces. And what that means is you will have one pattern on the outside. So this is your Daisy and Plume. And then a different pattern on the inside. So this is the raspberry pattern on the inside. So sometimes they refer to that double stamping as fancy. Like in rose bowls, they call it fancy. But yeah, I love this piece. This piece is just gorgeous. And do you guys have any questions about anything that I've covered so far? Yeah, what a showstopper, right? Like, look at all of that color. It's so whimsical and fun. And like, who would have thought that some of these pieces of glass could be worth so much money? I mean, it really, really flabbergasted me to see people paying like thousands and thousands of dollars on pressed glass. Blown glass, one of a kind pieces I get, but and yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. So a lot of the companies that went out of business, they had all of these molds, and they sold their molds to other glass companies. So like, for example, when Imperial went out of business, they sold a bunch of their molds to Fenton because they owed Fenton some money. And so patterns that were forever known as Imperial glass patterns, now Fenton was using the molds and making them. So there gets to be a lot of like, I say it's rabbit holes inside of rabbit holes when you're researching carnival glass, and it's wonderful and fun and such an adventure, but sometimes super frustrating because you're like, do I have the $50 piece or do I have the $5,000 piece? But a good time, a colorful time. So now that we have learned all about scratching the surface with carnival glass, I will talk about some jewelry, which I know you guys love, and offer you some jewelry. And I picked this little kitty cat brooch because he reminded me of carnival glass. He's not glass. He's just a little metal kitty cat brooch, but he's iridescent. Please forgive my nails, you guys. They're a mess. He's a little sweetie. He's just a small little guy. Good for Halloween. We're going to run him for $5. Thank you, Mel. Thank you. I appreciate that. I felt very ill prepared, but teaching is not really in my wheelhouse, but I'll give it a go. Look at his blue eyes. Cool. I'm so sorry. I'm shaking you guys all over the place. Okay. We're going to run these earrings. These are little glass birdies. I'm calling them little glass birdie cha-cha earrings. Aren't they cute? They're on a hook. Let me get rid of that. a hook closure. And these are going to run for $7. I love birds. I'm always picking up birds. Yeah, like I thank you so much for your bid, Rachel. I am a reseller, and you guys, I don't really niche into anything. I resell everything. I do clothes, I do glass, I do pottery, I do jewelry, shoes, art. Thank you, Rachel. These are coming to you. But I actually did toy with the idea of maybe I'll just niche into Carnival glass. I can't do it because I love other things too much, but I'm definitely going to start making it like more of a staple in my store. Your mom had a few pieces and you didn't have a clue. I'm glad that it helped you. I'm really glad to hear that, Felicia. That means a lot to me. And if you guys get anything from this, I hope it's that misconception about this glass was way overproduced and there just couldn't possibly be any value in it. I had that misconception, and boy, I was so wrong. And I just hope that it sort of lights you up inside and you start to consider, if you do run into a piece of Carnival or maybe you have some, look it up. Get on the website and play with it and look it up and try to identify it and see what it's worth. Because you might be sitting on a gold mine. Sorry about flipping you guys around. So we've got about 10 more minutes. I have a really cool necklace that I want to show you guys, but I'm going to run through some of this cheaper stuff first. So we have this pair of Kate Spade earrings, very blingy. They're post earrings. They're still new on card. We're going to run those for, what do I have it, 16? Oh, thank you so much, Rachel. I like the colors. This makes me think of Kathy. Her and her sparklies. Yeah, her nails. Yeah, she always paints her nails in that color. Thank you, Rachel. Those are coming to you. Thank you so much. I've got this cute little bracelet here. Run that. And I'm just calling this a cloisonne clamper bracelet. I really like the pattern on this, but let me take it off the wrist so I can show you guys. Ah. Literally, I have to hold the stand with my foot so that it doesn't tip over. Like, I want my money back. It doesn't work. Here it is. I don't think it's anything, like there's no maker mark or anything like that. It's just a cute little bracelet. So we're going to run that for $5. Hello, Jedi Jerk. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. We're running this little cloisonne clamper bracelet. It's almost like a floral pattern on it. I like the colors of it. It's cute. And thanks for looking at that. Rachel showed a piece like this, I think it was last night, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have something very similar. And it is this very boho statement necklace. Don't hurt the Carnival. In pink on a leather cord. Hand-painted flowers. These are good sized beads. I don't know if they're ceramic or glass. Let me take it off. Okay. Let me clink them together. I think these are ceramic. Yeah. And they've got like these little brass findings and then these cute little clear and pink beads. I love the flowers on this, on the hand-painted flowers on this. Super cool. And it's a longer piece. It's about 28 inches long. Here's the clasp. Can you see? There you go. I don't know what you call this kind of clasp. What do you call this? It reminds me of like a keychain. But we're going to run this one for 10. Slot one's running. This is heavy. A dog tooth? Thank you. Okay. I'm going to move some of this glass because this next piece, oh my gosh. I'm so excited about this piece. I got this at the antique mall the other day, and the lady gave me a discount on it. Like, she was there stocking her booth, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? I love it. And she was like, I'll give you a deal on it. And I was like, okay, I have to have that. And you guys, everybody always asks me, am I a collector? Like, what do I collect? I'm not a collector. I don't collect anything. I used to collect glass dolphins. I loved it. It was my thing for many, many, many years. And I stopped doing it one day. I liquidated my collection, passed it all along, and just decided I just didn't want to have a bunch of stuff to dust. And as somebody who now sells things, I feel like when I pick something up to move it to its rightful owner, I get to sort of collect. I get to learn about it and appreciate the beauty of it and love it. And then I get to move it along. And I never have to dust it, hopefully. Hopefully it sells before it needs a good dusting. Okay. So this is a pricey piece, I know. But I feel like it's worth it. This is a 1930s faceted glass. Look at the facets on this. And I'm telling you, when you put it on, it sparkles like no other. Graduated. I think these are called bicone separators. Here's the closure. Now, I could not figure out how to open this. It's long enough so that you don't have to open it, but it looks like you just would push this in. I was afraid I was going to damage it. And look at this. It looks to me like this is on a sterling chain. I haven't tested the chain, so I don't know if it's sterling, but a lot of times these are on like fabric. So I thought, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So this one is Vaseline Glass, and we're going to light it up. It's got like a little bit of a greenish yellow tinge to it in the daylight. Look at that glow. Awesome. Okay, let me put it on stage. I should have done that before I got it out. I am offering it for $85. I did do a little tiny bit of research on this. And there was one almost identical to it on eBay that sold for $120. So if you're interested, I feel like this is a good price on this. And if not, that's okay too. But I wanted to share it with you guys because it's just absolutely beautiful. Turn the light back on. And yeah, this is my jam too. You guys know I love glass necklaces. I can't keep them all though. I have to move some of them along. It is very weighty. Yeah, very heavy. I just can't get over like the shine on those facets. Such a pretty piece. And yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else loaded for auction, but if there's anything you guys are looking for, there's a good chance I might have it and I could load it on the fly. We have 5 minutes before we raid Rachel. So if anybody has anything, I mean, there's no crazy request. There's a good chance I might have it. I have a lot of stuff, you guys. I've got tons of jewels. I've got, you know, critters, glass, figurines. I've got clay. I've got ornaments. Yes, please follow me on Instagram and Facebook and right here on District 2. Yeah, I have a little bit of everything. I was gonna load some of this stuff in case I ran out or I got done early, which I just didn't see happening. But I'll show you some of my recent pickups then. And if you guys want it, just let me know. So I got these. This is by Pier 1. A lot of Pier 1 is very collectible. I think they went out of business. These are adorable. Look at these little glass owl figurines. I think they're the see here and speak no evil. Little confetti glass. So cute. So I'll just show you things until we run out of time. There's the speak no evil. This is the hear no evil. Adorable. Look at their little feet. So I got that. Oh my gosh, I picked this up. I have not researched this yet. This is like a powder jar. And pretty darn sure that this is Czech. Look at the hand painting on that. Possibly a well-known maker. Had to have it. Look at the age on it. Gorgeous. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to offer this piece for. I need to do some research on it and then weigh against what I paid for it, but super cool. Where did I put it? Oh my goodness. Oh, of course it's way up here. Wonder if that will stay. Look at this piece, you guys. I got this at the antique mall. It had a sticker price of $15 on it. And I was like, $15? That's fused. Why is it not signed? I had to have it. It's a little bit iridescent. Blown glass. So I bring it home and I do a Google Lens search on it. And guess who makes it? Thomas Webb. So, yay! Yes, we'll take it for $15. So this is probably $100 and some odd dollars. $100 and some odd dollar piece. Awesome. What else can I show you? I have another really awesome vase that I just got from Shop Goodwill. So I'll show you that and then we'll raid into Rachel. I got this piece. It's really hard to see the beauty of this piece in the light, oddly enough. Can you see? There's like these little striations. It almost looks like a galaxy in here. It's so pretty. Blues and this one is signed right here. And I'm pretty sure that this is Robert Held, you guys. 1997. I need to do some research on it, but is that not cool? Goodwill.com. Awesome. So that'll be coming up for sale soon. And we are at the 8 o'clock mark. So we are going to go right into Rachel. I want to thank you guys so much for coming and joining me. I appreciate you all very, very much. And I hope you have a great rest of your night. Bye.